Now this first class is basic concepts, not related with any topic. It is just that when we will be studying accounting area, some basic understanding we should have. Because without that basic understanding, it will be difficult to understand the accounting concepts. One is present value concept. Those who are chartered accountants, CA inter qualified, those who have done MBA finance, बहुत सारे ऐसे हैं, कुछ थोड़ा बहुत concept होएगा ही. But I have seen that those who are graduates, not done any masters or any professional qualification, तो उनको थोड़ा problem होता है. Now I am not teaching finance here. But then when you study non-current assets, leasing, financial instruments, employee benefits, सब जगह present value concept is there. So why not to deal this concept once in 10 minutes? Just basic understanding. I am not teaching finance because finance is a totally different area. I am just saying that when you will be solving questions or when you will be solving accounting concepts, basic understanding of present value, future value concept need to be there, which we say as time value of money. मैं थोड़ा सा वो समझा रहा हूं. It will be used in entire syllabus. If I will deposit $100, $100 deposited today. You don't have to write this. Just concentrate on understanding. Once the class is over, these slides will be mailed to all of you. So you don't have to write anything. When you are doing recordings, don't write anything. Like when you are doing the live class, you are not writing anything. Similarly, when you do recordings, don't have to write. Because our software, when you run, then the Windows, I mean to say the laptop and all that is screen locked. Because it is not browser based. It is app based. So once we start the recording, the app will not allow you to do anything. And even not required also. Once you have done the live class, once you have done the recording, now do the same thing on your own. And still if somebody will say that, sir, I want to write during the class, you can write. For the time being, if you want to write something, then one another screen you use. Not your pen and paper. You use one another screen, on that you type. So similarly, if you are doing recordings and you want to write something during the time of recording, then you need to use another screen. Another laptop, another computer where you can type. You can pause the video, you can type. But I will advise, not required. Just focus on understanding. At the time of recording, understand. And then after that, do your own working. $100 deposited today at the rate of 5% per annum for 5 years. So we want to say that what will be the value after 5 years. Now, in finance, always we say compound interest rule. That means $100 will become after 1 year 105. But the second year interest will not be on 100, it will be on 105. Third year interest will be on second year total value. So we say that 100, 1.05, 1 plus rate to the power 5. 100 will become into 1.05. After 1 year into 1.05. After 2 years into 1.05. 3 years. So 5 times 5 years, 1 plus interest rate to the power n. How much it will come? When we sit in the class, we will be sitting with a calculator. Advisable scientific calculator. But if you have a normal calculator, chalega. But everybody should have a scientific calculator because in exams it is required. You will not purchase on the day of exam. You will purchase now only. So that you get habituated with your scientific calculator. We say present value equals to 100 and future value equals to 127.63. The difference between present value and future value is what? The difference is interest. If you add interest, it is called future value. If you deduct interest, it is called present value. I can say present value equals to 127.63 divided by 1.05 to the power 5. It will be giving you 100. For future value, we are adding interest, so we are multiplying by the interest factor. We say future value factor. For present value, we need to deduct interest, so we are dividing by the present value factor. Now, if you see any table, there are tables which we say annuity table, present value tables and all that. Then in the table, present value equals to 1 divided by 1.05 to the power 5. If you go in any book, suppose this is your book. In this book, if you go in page number around 15, 20, I don't know exactly the page number. In the exam hall also, in the question paper, that table will be given. You don't need to do any calculation. The table will be given to you. But just, I don't remember 1 by 1.05 to the power 5 is how much. Maybe they have printed at the end. Not printed in this book. तो कोई और में आ जाते हैं यार. .783. ठीक है. I was interested to show you the table figure. Even not in the exam for SBR, IFRS exam, the value will be given 0.783. You don't need to open table, but it's still table. If I will say that present value equals to 127.63 into 0.783, that will also give me 100. We don't need to solve in exam like this. In the exam, this is called the present value factor, present value interest factor. This present value interest factor is for 5% for 5 years. At the rate of 5% for 5 years, the present value factor is 0.783. 0.783 means $1 after 5 years. $1 after 5 years. The value today is $1. The value today is 0.783, sorry. $1 after 5 years. The value today is 0.783. So $127 after 5 years. The value today unitary method. $1 value is this, so $127 value is how much? So we are getting, by multiplying with this factor, the present value excluding interest. You will say why this is required. When we will be studying so many chapters in accounting, different chapters. Suppose I am giving an example of IFRS 16 leasing. In the leasing, you are taking an assets on lease and you will pay the lease rent in 5 years. Every year you will pay the lease rent, say 100 for 5 years. So the total you will pay 500, but in the books of accounts you can't record 500 today because you are not paying 500 today. In the books of accounts you need to record present value of 500. From every 100 you need to deduct the interest component. So if the rent you are going to pay after 5 year 100, then the value today is 100 into 70.783, 78.3. We are saying that in the present value, when we add interest, it will become 127 on 100. First year interest is 5. Second year interest will be 105 into 5%. Third year interest, this will be coming 110.25. This is coming 105, including first year interest. So third year, what will happen? It is 110.25 into 5% again, automatically 5th year में क्या हो जाएगा? 127.63 automatically. When in the books of accounts we are recording transactions which have effect of more than 1 year, either in leasing, either in non-current assets, research and development, either in non-current asset, fixed assets, there is some decommissioning expenditures after 4 or 5 years, employee benefits, you are going to pay them the benefits after 4 or 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. In the accounting books also, when the amount, the transaction value will arise after 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, this concept is required. And this is there in your entire syllabus. Every topic you will get this concept. You need to record the value as on today. When you are preparing the books of accounts today, you need to record the present value. The language they use, 100 present value, 105, 110.25, and so on and so on. Whatever. It's called unwinding of interest. The technical language they use in IFRS, unwinding of interest. Whether in the leasing, whether in the non-current assets, whether in the employee benefits, or whether I will say financial instruments, everywhere the story is there, and everywhere they are using the term unwinding of interest. मतलब पहले हमने प्रेजेंट वैल्यू लाया, इंटरेस्ट हटा दिया, अब हम उसके अंदर इंटरेस्ट को जोड़ते जा रहे हैं. हर साल का इंटरेस्ट को हम खर्चा दिखाने के लिए निकालते जाएंगे. एंड एवरी ईयर इंटरेस्ट इज अ डिफरेंट फिगर. फर्स्ट ईयर इज 5, सेकेंड ईयर इज 5.25, थर्ड ईयर इज समथिंग. वो सब जोड़ जोड़ के इंटरेस्ट फिगर को अगर अनवाइंड करेंगे, जोड़ेंगे, तो वो बन जाएगा 127.63. You will record today 100, but the payment or anything, whatever transaction value after 5 years will be 127. So 5 years we will record the interest portion, which is 5, 5.25 and so on, and automatically the figure will become 127.63. When we will be doing any topic, this thing will come. तो आपको मन में there are many students who are just graduate, have not studied finance properly in BCom, maybe BCom में FM था, नहीं पढ़े. अभी यह ज़्यादा finance, because finance cannot be taught in 2-5 minutes. That's a totally different area. But then this calculation, present value, then unwinding of interest, you need to regularly calculate in your calculations in every topic. So for that reason, just a present value, future value concept. Just one thing more. If the amount every year is different, then use PVIF factor. This PVIF factor will be given in the question. आपको निकालना नहीं है. Just now, Vaisali said that, sir, it is coming 0.783, Surujit said, but exam में नहीं निकालना है. ये AFM का एग्जाम नहीं है, सुरजीत वैशाली, ये अकाउंट्स है, यहां दिया रहेगा. Will be given in the question. But just that you will get a good feeling when you understand what is 0.783. If the amounts is same every year, अगर अमाउंट हर साल सेम है, we will use annuity. We will use annuity factor. Annuity factor means I said here 100 one time today and after 5 years. Suppose I will say 100 first year, 100 second year, 100 third year, 100 fourth year, 100 fifth year. The same 100 every year. So when the amount is same every year, to calculate present value, we will use annuity factor. The annuity factor is given in the question. You multiply with the 100, you will get the present value. You will get the value without excluding interest. Because when you are entering into transaction today, you need to write the value today value. But the payment or whatever the cash flow will be there after 4 or 5 years, different figures. They will automatically become once you add up interest, once you do unwinding of interest. This concept is required in your entire syllabus every time, whatever chapter we do. So just It is outside the syllabus, not the accounting part. Maybe many of you already know, but फिर भी जिनको नहीं मालूम है उनके लिए थोड़ा सा basic understanding. Time value of money. If you have money today, you can invest your money anywhere in the world. Bank deposit, government securities, share market, gold bond. It will become more. So when it will become more, it is giving you return. The value which is more later is after the return. And the value today is without the return. The value today is called the present value. And the value including the return is called the future value. When we are doing accounting transactions recording in the books, we need to write today's value. We can't record 5 year later value. Ultimately it will come. But that 5 year you need to record unwinding of interest. Then automatically it will become 127. But today you cannot record 127. Today you need to record 100. Suppose I am purchasing a computer and I am going to pay to the supplier after 5 years. I will pay to the supplier after 5 years for the computer 1,50,000. That today I will not record computer value 1,50,000 because I am going to pay to the computer wala in 5 years. That obviously the computer wala is taking the interest. So with the interest rate I will calculate present value of 1,50,000. That interest rate I need to see that if I will borrow in the market and I will pay to the computer wala now, then what is the interest rate banker will charge? Suppose banker will charge with Saraf Academy say 8%. So I will calculate present value of 1,50,000 with 8%. The present value of 1,50,000 at the rate of 8% say coming 95,000. So I will record a computer value 95,000 in the books. I will depreciate on 95. But I need to pay to the computer wala 1,50,000 after 5 years. So I will do unwinding of interest. First year interest on 95,000. Add in 95, the liability will increase. The second year interest on that increased amount. Automatically it will become after 5 years 1,50,000 and I will pay to the supplier 1,50,000. But the interest component is not the value of the computer. The interest component is if suppose actually I have taken loan and paid for the computer, then that interest component will be recorded in PL account. That interest will come in PL only. So in accounting also, basic understanding of present value, future value need to be there. Otherwise, maybe you are solving the problem, but you are not getting the feeling. And if the feeling is not there, knowledge is not there, no purpose of passing any exam. For that reason, just a basic understanding of time value of money, present value, future value. Anybody has anything to ask in this? I have not taught finance. Finance will take 1 year to teach. FM, AFM, derivative, and now so many things are there. I'm not teaching finance. Just present value, future value concept for accounting purpose. Anybody has any query on future value, present value concept? I'm moving. In future also, if you have query, you can ask. There is no problem. I don't have any issue. The present value, future value concept is not for land, gold, jewelry, silver, share market, bond. It is for everything. The present value, future value means the value today and the value after some time will be including interest. So the present value, future value difference is interest. So if you talk of land, suppose I am purchasing a land, 1 kattha, 2 kattha, 1 bigha, whatever, say X price. Then obviously the land value will be increasing, otherwise why I am investing? At what rate the land value will increase, you and me don't know. Maybe we will analyze the market and we see that the growth in the prices is say 15%. So X value will become 1.15x after 1 year. Second year it will become X into 1.15 square. So the value will be increasing. Now maybe the actual increment in the value is not 15%, but the future value will be including the return. The present value will be excluding the return. So this logic is applicable for anything in the world where the concept of return, interest, payment or interest income is there. The rate of interest nobody decides. If I will go for loan, bank will charge a particular interest rate. If Chandan, you are going for loan, bank will charge a different interest rate. Suppose I am going for a loan for 5 years, you are also going for 5 years. But the credibility, how much security, my business in the last 5-7 years, how I have generated earnings and all that, what assets I have, because we say that in the market the interest rate depends upon credit rating. For Reliance Ambani, the interest rate is different as compared to Prakash Saraf. At the same time, the interest rate depends upon what is the inflation rate in the market. Because presently all over the world the inflation rate is high. So the interest rate is higher. So it depends upon credit rating, it depends upon risk, it depends upon inflation. So nobody decides. The Reserve Bank of India or the, in US, the Federal Bank decide interest rates based on inflation and all that. But not that every client or everywhere we are getting the same interest income or interest expenditure. That depends upon risk. So nobody can say that why the interest rate for me is greater than yours. Obviously, I have more risk because I am doing some business where the risk is more. So the bankers are charging higher interest rate. Okay. Now, the second part basically in the first class and in the last class when we go, what we are going to study in accounts. How can we prepare PL account, balance sheet, cash flow statement, statement of changes in equity. If you say as per IAS 1 or Indian accounting or US GAAP, the whole set of financial statement includes what? Statement of financial position, which is balance sheet, statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, which is PL account, statement of cash flow statement, the cash inflows and outflows in the organization, statement of changes in equity, the owner's money changes in the organization, and then the notes to accounts, the disclosure notes. Whether we go Indian accounting, IFRS or US GAAP or any accounting, these are the 5 things which combinedly said as financial statement. Now, since financial accounting is rule-based in the sense, in India, Ind AS, if I have a capital greater than 250 crore, if I am listed in the stock exchange, then I need to prepare the financial statement based on Ind AS. If I am not 250 crore capital or not listed in a stock exchange, then I need to prepare PL account balance sheet based on Indian GAAP. Indian GAAP is the old things. Ind AS started in 2015 and all that, and then you can say that that is running. If I am in any other country where my level is higher, and that country don't have their own accounting separate regulations, then those country are accepting IFRS as their regulation. Because IFRS is International Financial Reporting Standards. So they need to follow IFRS to prepare their 5 things, financial statement. But if, like India, we have Ind AS, they have their own standards. Then they will prepare the financial based on those standards. But the small organizations will follow some normal, even in IFRS also, there is IFRS for small and medium sized enterprises, lower level, lower detailing and all that, that is there. So the countries where they have their own accounting, they follow that. Where they don't have their own accounting, they follow IFRS. In India, the Ind AS and IFRS, the difference are very, very minimal. Wherever the difference are there, I will be discussing in the class. Don't worry. We will cover Ind AS also along with IFRS. But it is not possible to cover US GAAP along with these classes. उसमें थोड़ा बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेलिंग आ जाता है, वो वहाँ नहीं जा पाएंगे. But US GAAP IFRS पढ़ने से 80% हो गया. Just 20% extra study. Wherever possible, I will be giving some knowledge on US GAAP also. But I mean to say that कि आपको अलग अलग अकाउंटिंग अलग से जानने की बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत नहीं. And in practical world, when you are working and in your country you have your own accounting, while working practically you can open that. It is not an exam. You can read that, you can follow that. There is no problem. हम लोग के एग्जाम में Ind AS US GAAP नहीं आएगा, IFRS और SBR में. They are going to test international financial reporting standards. But जो भी format है, in everywhere in the world, as per my knowledge of 25 years, the format of PL account and balance sheet is fixed. That format, nobody can apply different format. Tajamul ji is asking something. The preparation of financial statement for companies is governed by International Accounting Standard IS1. A complete set of financial statement includes a statement of position, statement of PL, comprehensive income, statement of changes in equity, statement of cash flow. The statement should also include accounting policies, explanatory notes. The statement provide valuable information to investors, creditors, and other stakeholders in assessing the companies. This is not a query. You are just saying. Don't require to say this, sir. If there is any query, then do chatting, sir. That. But these notes I have already prepared here, sir. Why you are taxing your brain? This is already written. IS1 says this, these are the things, everything written. So not required to paste here, sir. Because your understanding is not 100% correlated with others. 5 fingers, all are different. Okay, no problem. I was thinking that maybe there is some doubt so much. Okay. Then I said again, कि whatever notes you are preparing, you don't need to show to anybody. Because your notes is your language, your understanding. Maybe it can be Hindi, maybe it can be Urdu, maybe it can be Bengali. There is no problem. So your notes are for your self purpose. Okay? Yeah. So what I was saying that the format of PL account, balance sheet, cash flow, statement of changes in equity or anything, that format is common all over the world. If I am preparing Saraf Academy PL account, balance sheet, I am preparing with the same format. If Reliance is preparing PL account, balance sheet, they are preparing with the same format. The format is common in IFRS, Indian accounting, Ind AS, Indian GAAP, US GAAP, everywhere the format is same. That's the rule, you can say. Everybody need to follow the same format. Why? Because if the format is not same, then in that case, we will not be able to understand the financials of an organization. Even though we should say ourselves as we are the expert in the finance field. So when we will not be able to understand a common layman, how they will understand if the financial statements are prepared with different presentation, different format and all that. Maybe for bigger organization, Reliance or having capital greater than 250 crore, more detailing is there. More detailing in the sense, along with the format when they prepare their disclosure notes to accounts, then there are so many detailing is there. That much detailing will not be there in Saraf Academy financials. So in a bigger organization, the notes to accounts, the disclosures are more and more detailed as compared to Saraf Academy. But the Saraf Academy PL account, balance sheet, cash flow, statement of changes in equity, Reliance, Google, Apple, any company, that format will remain same. Because if the format is not same, then the whole purpose of preparing books of accounts, whole purpose of preparing financial statement is lost. कोई नहीं समझ पाएगा, ना बनाने वाला, ना देखने वाला, कोई नहीं समझ पाएगा. For that reason I am saying, rule कि आपको financial statement ऐसे बनाना है. Now there are many who are chartered accountants. उन लोग को फॉर्मेट आता है, बट बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको फॉर्मेट आता नहीं है. They don't know the format. And the problem arises that if they don't know the format, then they will not be able to understand anything in accounting. Presently, we cannot study preparation of PL balance sheet because that too you need to complete the entire syllabus. जब तक सिलेबस कंप्लीट नहीं करेंगे वी कांट प्रिपेयर पीएल, बैलेंस शीट, कैश फ्लो स्टेट, वी कांट प्रिपेयर. बट जरूरी है कि आपके हर समय जब आप टॉपिक पढ़ोगे फॉर्मेट आपको ध्यान रहे. यू शुड रिमेंबर द फॉर्मेट, पहले क्या आता है, बाद में क्या आता है, व्हाट इज द ब्रेकअप ऑफ एसेट्स, व्हाट इज द ब्रेकअप ऑफ लाइबिलिटी, दैट शुड बी देयर. सो दोज हु डोंट हैव गुड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, माई रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल ऑफ देम कि आफ्टर द क्लास दे शुड प्रिपेयर द फॉर्मेट विदाउट एनी फिगर. तो मैंने यहां पर फॉर्मेट आप लोगों के लिए लिख कर दिया है. फॉर्मेट में लिख कर दिया है बैलेंस शीट का फॉर्मेट. इन इंडिया वी कैन यूज द वर्ड बैलेंस शीट. In US GAAP, we can use the word balance sheet. But in IFRS, statement of financial position. You can't say balance sheet. IFRS is saying that आपको statement of financial position ही लिखना पड़ेगा. But Indian GAAP, US GAAP are saying that you can use the word balance sheet. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता यार, टर्मिनोलॉजी. आप प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में बैलेंस शीट बोलो, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन बोलो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. So since this is IFRS, that they don't say balance sheet, they say statement of financial position, non-current assets and current assets. The question arises that what is the difference between non and current? So we should define current, balance becomes non-current. The IFRS is also defining current assets, they are not defining non-current. You will say not defining means there are so many IFRS relating to property, plant, equipment, investment, intangibles, everywhere. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that in IAS 1, when they explain assets, they have defined non-current, current, but they have explained current assets. Current assets means any assets which will be used or which will be realized in the accounting cycle. The accounting cycle for different organizations are different. Suppose I am in the construction business. In the construction business, maybe there may be a road construction, maybe there is a building construction or anything. And there, the accounting cycle may be greater than 1 year. That means if I am doing road construction or if I am doing any building construction, I will be able to sell the building flats not within 1 year. Maybe I will be taking 1.5 years, 2 years. Then in that case, whatever the figure, since this is coming in the business cycle, that will be a part of current assets. Normally the business cycle in most of the business within 1 year. If you invest in the raw material, you will be getting your money from the customers generally within 1 year. If you have raw materials, work in progress or anything, then you will be using that in the business within 1 year. Raw material will become finished goods within 1 year. So normally we can say that anything which is realizable, anything which is usable within 1 year becomes a current assets. Anything which will be realized within the trading cycle is current assets. Anything which is held for a trading purpose is current assets. Trading purpose means, suppose I have invested my surplus money in Reliance Industries. Now I am doing this daily. I am not doing, I am just giving example. कि हर दिन मैं शेयर मार्केट में रिलायंस, आईटीसी, इसका शेयर लिया, उसका बेचा, मेरा ये नॉर्मल बिजनेस हो गया डेली का. दैट मीन्स दैट इज ऑल्सो, सिंस इट इज फॉर अ ट्रेडिंग पर्पस, दैट इज करंट एसेट्स. इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट कंप्यूटर, लैपटॉप, कैमरा, प्लांट, ऑल दीज थिंग्स, it is not that I am purchasing and selling computer, laptop. It is not that they will be giving me the return within 1 year. I am using computer, laptop, camera for years. For conducting my operational activities, these assets I am going to use for years. They don't fall within the operating cycle within 1 year. They are not for the trading purpose. That is not my business. Then they are called non-current assets. In the asset side, the broad classification is non-current and current. As per Indian accounting, the same format is there. Even though balance sheet, but same format. But as per US GAAP, the format is reverse. US GAAP, first of all, they write current assets and then they write non-current assets. First they write liquid assets, then they write non-liquid assets. But the balance sheet distinction, asset side, is current and non-current. Similarly, in the balance sheet liability side, the distinction is 3 parts. One is shareholders' money, owners' money, and one is outside money. Outside money is divided between non-current, current. Again, the current liability means which will be payable within 1 year, which will be settled within the operating cycle. Maybe there is a loan taken for 5 years. So for 5 years it is non-current. But after 4 years it is payable within 1 year. Then it will come under current. The non-current will become current if the due amount is within 1 year. You can't defer beyond 1 year. Earlier it was greater than 1 year. But now it is within 1 year. Then the current liability. And shareholders' money. Shareholder money is separate. For the business and businessman are separate entity all over the world accounting. So if I have invested in my Saraf Academy, then for Saraf Academy it is a liability. That is owner's liability. Share capital, retained earning or any other reserves which can be said as other components of equity. That is the liability side. Always we say that in the accounts the assets is equal to liability. If I am purchasing a computer for 1,50,000, the 1,50,000 computer assets, 1,50,000 creditor liability. In accounts, whenever the transaction happen, there are two aspects. That two aspects are called debit and credit. So those two aspects, the debit and credit, is balance sheet. The assets debit balance, the liability and capital credit balance. Since every accounting transaction has two aspects, so those two aspects will always be equal. So that is balance sheet. What are your total assets and what are your total liability? Those who don't have proper understanding of accounting, for them must that after the class they will prepare the format of PL account balance sheet. Please, it's a request. Those who have already sound understanding, ignore that. Then the statement of PL. In the PL, revenue. For me, revenue means tuition fees. There is no other revenue in Saraf Academy. My business is providing training classes. For me, revenue is tuition fees. For banks and financial institution, revenue means interest income. Jiska jo business hai. The business means which you are doing on regular basis every day. That is revenue. कोई शेयर मार्केट में शेयर बेचता खरीदता है, शेयर बेचना is revenue. So revenue minus cost of that revenue. To generate that revenue, whatever cost you have incurred, that will give you gross profit. In my case, revenue, tuition fees, cost of sale, staff salary, electricity, internet, depreciation of these assets, all these are cost of sale, will give you gross profit. Distribution cost, admin cost. Distribution means, suppose you have subscribed for the classes, like Ranjit was asking, how I will be able to get the software and all that. तो आपको सॉफ्टवेयर का लिंक दिया जाएगा, इंस्टॉल कराया जाएगा, मेरी टीम आपको हेल्प करेगी. दैट इज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एक्सपेंडिचर्स. द पर्सन हु इज इन्वॉल्व्ड इन दैट इज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कॉस्ट. एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव, accountings or all that, whatever is happening is administration. If I am teaching 5 different courses, then these are all common. Distribution, administration. Then comes from gross profit you deduct, that is called profit from operation. By doing my business operation, how much I am earning. Then investment income. Suppose surplus money I have done FD, surplus money I have invested in some property, surplus money I have invested in gold, silver, somewhere. So usse jo income hua, that is investment income, not my business income, but that is my income. Finance cost. I have taken loan from banks, financial institution, and on the loan I am paying interest. That is not treated as operational. Operation means business karna, tuition padhana, kharcha lagana tuition padhane ke liye. These are investment and financing. The balance becomes profit before tax. Whatever income we generate, we need to pay tax to government. This is not indirect tax. This is direct tax. Indirect tax is recorded here. The revenue is recorded. Suppose my tuition revenue is 3 crore. In 3 crore, the GST is 18%, 54 lakh. So I will be writing revenue here how much? 2.46 lakh. 2.46 crore. That I will record as a revenue. The revenue is recorded net of GST. The breakup is given in the notes to accounts. We are writing here the income tax, the direct tax on my income, on my investment income, whatever tax is there. Then we get profit or loss. If it is a negative loss, if it is positive profit, this is profit. In this profit, we record other comprehensive income. For other comprehensive income, I am not in a position to say everything now because it is a never-ending process in our class. But just whatever is possible for the time being. Other comprehensive income means those income which cannot be said as profit or loss. Those income or expenditures which cannot be said as profit or loss, they are called other comprehensive income. For the time being, just for understanding, it is wrong I am saying. For the time being, generally you say non-realized gain or losses. If you write in the exam non-realized gains or losses are other comprehensive, you are wrong. You will not be getting marks. But for the time being, just that since we have not studied any IAS, IFRS, just for understanding purpose, say non-realized gain or loss. Means what? Suppose this is a computer. I am using this computer in the class for 4 years. I want to record the computer value in my books at revalued figure. The computer value after depreciation is say 70,000. But the revalued figure is say 80,000. And I want to record it 80,000 in the books. So this 10,000 value I am increasing in the computer. That 10,000 increase in the value is not that I have received the tuition fees. It is not my operations. And at the same time, I have not sold a computer also. So that I receive 10,000, not that. But I want to record computer at 10,000 extra value, the fair value, the revalued figure I want to record. So that 10,000 gain I will record here. That is called other comprehensive income. There are many examples like this. In financial instruments, in employee benefits, at many places. Many examples are for this. Those are treated as other comprehensive income. They are not part of profit or loss, but they will be recorded under the heading other comprehensive income. They are also divided into two parts. One is those items which will be later on recorded in PL account. And one is those items which will never be recorded in PL account, written as items that will never be classified to PL. Items that may be reclassified to PL. I am not in a position to say anything for this. Just that I have given one example that what is other comprehensive income. There are many examples. Other comprehensive income are not part of profit or loss for the period. Other comprehensive income for the time being for understanding purpose are non-realized gain or losses. Just an example I have given: revaluation, fair valuation gain or loss on an asset. That fair valuation gain or loss is a part of other comprehensive income. But there are many items which we will gradually discuss one by one when we will do that topic. Abhi nahi baat kar sakte. We need to divide this other comprehensive income into two parts. Presently they are other comprehensive. Later on they will become profit or loss. And presently they are other comprehensive. Never they will become profit or loss for the period. Never. Not be reclassified, be reclassified. When I will be teaching later, suppose anything which is coming in this area, then I will be saying first class we discussed. There is other comprehensive income in the PL account. Now we are discussing this. I will be saying that. You need to remember. So those who have not studied accounts properly in life need to prepare this format after the class. Please, it's a request. Other comprehensive added with the profit or loss for the period is called total comprehensive income. You can have a separate statement, profit or loss separate, other comprehensive separate, and then both are combined and called total comprehensive. Or you can have one statement like this. It's upon you. In US GAAP, in IFRS, in Indian accounting, everywhere. These three accounting I know. Other comprehensive income is income and expense recognized outside of PL account, that is not part of profit or loss. And other comprehensive and profit or loss are called total comprehensive income. Just that some examples are written: revaluation, remeasurement, employee benefits, investment, but we cannot understand. For that reason I have written, we'll discuss later. You will say, now why I cannot discuss? I am not in a position to explain you now, unless and until I don't teach the basics of accounting. So मैं अभी हुई नहीं, अभी हम लोग बात करेंगे next month में. In the month of April we will discuss this, that the revaluation we will do in 1 or 2 classes only, but others not possible. So it will be gradually discussed. Just that for the purpose some examples are written. That is what is the items under other comprehensive income. The third part is a statement of changes in equity. Means what? In the balance sheet, shareholders money. In the balance sheet, shareholders money breakup. The shareholder money breakup is called a statement of changes in equity. Required in Indian accounting, US GAAP, IFRS, everywhere. Everywhere. We start with the opening balance of share capital, retained earning reserves, premium, whatever. And whatever the changes happen during the year, the profit earned, the dividend paid, or any share issue, whatever, then it will be giving you the closing balances. And these closing balances will be written in the balance sheet, will be written in the statement of financial position under equity and liabilities under equity. But the breakup from opening to closing you need to show. I studied accounts in 95, 96 in CA Inter, then in 97, 98 in CA Final. Then you can see that in other courses also. So when I studied, there was no statement of changes in equity at that time. We used to prepare PL appropriation, profit and loss appropriation account. Those who belongs to my community, maybe 97 within 2000, 97, 95 to 2000, you studied accounts. आपको भी ध्यान होएगा, हम लोग PL appropriation बनाते थे. PL appropriation में we used to write dividend and all that. Now there is no PL appropriation concept, nothing. I don't remember from which year, but then once the statement of changes in equity arises, there is no PL appropriation concept. Why this is separate statement by the accounting body all over the world? Because whatever window dressing you are doing, what is window dressing? You are saying more assets value, you are showing less liability, you are showing better picture, whatever. By doing some dubious accounting policies, you are showing better picture than what it deserves. All the adjustments, second adjustment will be in here. The second adjustment will be coming here only. The second adjustment will be coming here only under shareholders' money, under share capital, retained earning reserves. सारा second adjustment यहीं पर आता है. It comes here only under this. The second portion of the adjustment comes here. That second portion of adjustments is called statement of. तो पहले क्या होता था, बहुत मेहनत होता था, कहां पर विंडो ड्रेसिंग है, कहां गड़बड़ है, क्या अच्छा है. वी नीड टू डू सेपरेट वर्किंग फॉर दिस. बट अब क्या है, जरूरी है ये. Whatever window dressing is there, if you just go into equity statement of, you will be able to understand. So इसलिए ये कंपल्सरी बना दिया गया, so that we will be able to understand better. The dividend payment is not an expense. The dividend payment is profit appropriation. Earlier, 20 years back, we used to write under PL appropriation. Now it is written under statement of changes in equity. Statement of cash flow, which is not required for Saraf Academy. It is required for listed company. It is required for those companies which are very big. Any individual proprietorship business also big organization. मैंने यहां पर अभी उसका फॉर्मेट नहीं बनाया, बिकॉज अभी मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव वो नहीं है. Cash flow in my business are from tuition, by purchasing or selling assets, or by taking loan, issuing shares. These are the three cash flow. My tuition cash flow are operating activity, investment in land, building, plant, machinery, or shares is investing activity, taking loan, repaying loan, share issue is financing activity. The format is not here, we will discuss later. Statement of cash flow मैंने नहीं बनाया. Disclosure notes. Even in Saraf Academy also, the disclosure notes are there. For what purpose the disclosure notes are required? If practically, I will say if, but normally I know everybody is working. जब आप प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में ऐसे बनाते हो पीएल अकाउंट, बैलेंस शीट, तो आपका यहां पर एक कॉलम और होता है. पहले तो इन प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ व्हेन यू प्रिपेयर फॉर 2 years. Suppose I am preparing for March 2023. Then there will be a column March 2022 also. Comparatives need to be presented in practical life, even for a small organization. And there is one more column, schedule, annexure, schedule for per plant and machinery 1, 2, 3, whatever investment 2, ऐसे करके schedule होता है. वो सारे schedule को हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? Disclosure और notes to accounts. वो जो disclosure और notes to accounts अगर वो ना हो, कुछ नहीं समझ में आएगा. Because the figure in the balance sheet, non-current assets, property, plant and equipment is giving you one figure. But how that figure is derived, what policy the organization has followed, how they have done the depreciation, what different types of adjustments arises during the year, what, वो तो लिखना हो, बताना होगा ना. A knowledgeable person, you and me, will never see the PL and balance sheet, will straight away go into notes to accounts, will straight away go into disclosures, because वहीं से चीज समझ में आएंगी. But a layman, a normal person, not having sound knowledge of accounting, they will see the PL balance sheet. They will see CNBC, profit of the company up by 20%. The normal layman see that. But a knowledgeable person having sound knowledge of accounting, they will straight away go into disclosures. The disclosures is required for different accounting policies. Policy means, suppose for assets, I can follow straight line WDV. For inventory, I can follow FIFO method of inventory, average method of inventory. In every IS, IFRS, different options are given. Which policy I have followed relating to certain items which are very big amount, material items, how those items were valued, how they have been derived, what principles we have followed. Relating to certain things, there is no accounting policy, no IS, IFRS, cryptocurrency accounting. I have invested in crypto. उसका वैल्यूएशन कैसे करेंगे? अकाउंटिंग नहीं है तो बताना होगा नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में. For anything where the options are given in the accounting and you are selecting a particular option, why you have selected that, what you are doing, that should be shown in the notes to accounts. In the business, what is the risk? Maybe relating to interest rate, maybe relating to market, maybe relating to economy, maybe relating to your product or anything. वो रिस्क को आप कैसे मैनेज करेंगे, क्या फिगर्स आया है, दैट ऑल्सो नीड टू बी एक्सप्लेन्ड इन द नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स. इन अ बिगर कंपनी दे डिस्क्लोज सो मेनी एक्स्ट्रा थिंग्स comparative with others, with the industry and all that. That is called additional performance measures. In Saraf Academy, we are not doing that, but listed companies are doing that. Additional performance measures, that is also treated as disclosure notes to accounting. Why that is required? That you understand when you study entire subject. At the same time, maybe during the subject, like suppose just now तजामुल हैज रिटन दैट. सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात क्या है कि जब 2-4 क्लास हो जाए तो आप कोई कंपनी का गूगल में जाके रिलायंस, आईटीसी, एप्पल, गूगल, किसी का फाइनेंशियल्स डाउनलोड कर लीजिए. डाउनलोड करने के बाद आप जब जब एक एक टॉपिक होता है उसको वहां को रिलेट करिए. वहां पर क्या क्या है, शेड्यूल में क्या है, नेक्स्चर में क्या है. आप प्रैक्टिकल बनिए. नॉट राइटिंग दीज नोट्स बिकॉज दैट इज मोर प्रैक्टिकल, कि वो लोग क्या क्या डिस्क्लोजर्स इसके ऊपर किए, क्या नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में लिखा है. रिलेटिंग टू प्रॉपर्टी, प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट, इट इज अ टाइम कंज्यूमिंग प्रोसेस, बट दैट शोज योर इंटरेस्ट कि यू वांट टू स्टडी अकाउंट्स टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल. क्लास में करने का मन होता है बट सिलेबस वगैरह ये सब देखकर वो टाइम मिल नहीं पाता. बिकॉज टू गो थ्रू अ वन पर्टिकुलर अकाउंटिंग से एप्पल का अकाउंटिंग डाउनलोड कर लेते हैं, गूगल कर लेते हैं. गूगल का डाउनलोड किए फिर वो कम से कम 200 पेज का है, 200 पेजेस, दैट टू ऑल्सो फॉन्ट साइज रिटन 8. तो आपको रुचि दिखाना होगा, आपको उसमें इंटरेस्ट डेवलप करना होगा. बट नॉर्मली आज अगर सराफ एकेडमी का भी खोलेंगे तो 20-25 पेज तो हमारा भी है, उसमें भी बहुत सारा नोट्स है, सब चीज का ब्रेकअप है. तो वो नोट्स जब एक बार पढ़ेंगे तब तो फीलिंग आएगा. तो आप गूगल, एप्पल का करने के बजाय अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जहां पर आप हैं उनका देखिए ध्यान से. नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में क्या क्या डिस्क्लोजर्स है, क्या क्या चीज बताया गया है. अपना इंटरेस्ट को, रुचि, मजा लीजिए. नॉट जस्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट पासिंग एग्जाम्स. हम लोग फिनेंशियल पर्सन है, फिनेंस पर्सन है, हम लोग को इसमें इंटरेस्ट लेना ही पड़ेगा. नहीं लेंगे तो फिर को पढ़ने का कोई फायदा नहीं है. एग्जाम पास करके कुछ नहीं होना है, कोई फायदा नहीं. IFRS पास हो जाए, SBR हो जाए, CIMA, MCA, कोई फायदा नहीं. लेकिन वो क्लास में अपने पास टाइम नहीं है कि हम लोग 200 पेज और 20 पेज में खोल खोल के बताऊं. यू आर ऑल वर्किंग, you go through 1 or 2 financials and always correlate whatever we are studying in the class. और कोई डाउट है रेज करिए, क्लास में बात करेंगे, डिस्कस करेंगे, बताएंगे, अच्छा लगेगा, मजा आएगा. You need to develop your interest. So IS 1 says that International Accounting is Standard 1. For this there is no IFRS. Disclosure with the compliance with the IFRS. You have to write. If you are saying that I have prepared my financial statement IFRS compliant, आपको ये लिखना होगा notes to accounts में, the financials of the company has been prepared by following international accounting standards, by following IFRS. When the CIMA case study exam is there, whether it's a management case study, whether it's a strategic case study, the first page of the case study they say the company follow IFRS, they have prepared their financial statements by following international accounting standards, because that should be written. If you are partially following, you can't write this. Disclosure of key uncertainties. Uncertainties means problems, risk in business or anywhere. Those risks are affecting the value of assets, liability, income, expenditure. Present a disclosure in systematic order by schedule, annexure, 1 by 1, 1A, 1B and so on, so that others can understand. Disclose material accounting policies. Material means in the PL account balance sheet, not written anywhere in the world. Generally, people understand. If any item is greater than 1% of turnover, or greater than 5% of profit or loss, or greater than 2.5% of the total assets value, they are generally treated as material. You can't write that in the exam that this is materiality. This depends upon case-to-case basis. Generally, we say that any one of the three, whether it is greater than 1% of turnover, whether it is greater than 5% of profit or loss, whether it is greater than 2.5% of assets or liability, total assets or liability, then they are called material items. For the material item, how the value is derived, how the valuation done, what policy they have followed, need to be written. The material item need to be separately disclosed. They cannot be combined with others, because if you are looking at the financials of a company and the material items are not presented separately properly, how you will analyze the financials of a company? Profit होगा कि नहीं, फायदा होगा कि नहीं, लोन देना चाहिए कि नहीं, हम लोगों को शेयर इशू करना चाहिए कि नहीं, शेयर खरीदना चाहिए कि नहीं, सामान देना चाहिए कि नहीं. How we will decide if the financials are not given us properly? Like the Tajamul was asking the users of the financials. Everybody is the users. The employees of the organization, the financiers of the organization, the creditors of the organization, the customers of the organization, anybody. All are the users. The users have an objective to achieve by reading the financial statements. So if the policies, if the format is not presented in a proper way, how the users can take informed decisions? Then the whole purpose of preparing financial statement is destroyed. सभी के एग्जाम में सीमा, केस स्टडी, MCS, SCS, ACCA SBR, ACCA AFM, ACCA APM, ACCA SBL, IFRS एग्जाम, एनी एग्जाम, हर जगह तो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट का एनालिसिस का क्वेश्चन है. फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट बनाना नहीं है, एनालिसिस. ये फिगर क्यों बढ़ा, ये क्यों घटा, ये रेशियो अच्छा है, खराब है. When we can analyze, that means we are champion. Our syllabus, IFRS, SBR, CIMA, MCS, SCS and all, is financial statement analysis, which is higher level job. The preparation of accounts is not there. In IFRS, the preparation of accounts is there. But in CIMA, in ACCA, SBR, the analysis part is there. The analysis part we can understand when we know the transaction, when we know why the transactions is recorded like this. So those disclosures are essential to understand the financial of a company. And those disclosures are in every IS, IFRS when we will study. There is a separate heading in all IS, IFRS, Indian account, that these are the disclosures. These are to be written in the notes to accounts relating to this IS, IFRS. For every IS, IFRS, there are separate disclosure requirements. And that is actually the analyst see. That is actually the analyst used to analyze the financials. Because कोई भी अगर बढ़िया अकाउंटेंट है, जब वो जाएगा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को बोलेगा आपको कितना प्रॉफिट चाहिए, मैं लाके दूंगा. A knowledgeable accountant will not generate income or loss, will bring the income or loss which the client want. प्रॉफिट जितना लाना उतना लेकर आएगा, लॉस जितना लाना लेकर आएगा, जो भी वो करे बाय फॉलोइंग अकाउंटिंग. लेकिन वो गलती किया है, माने विंडो ड्रेसिंग किया है, समझ में किसको आएगा? हमारे जैसे पर्सन को. नॉर्मल लेमैन को नहीं समझ में आएगा कहां पर विंडो ड्रेसिंग है, कहां पर विंडो ड्रेसिंग किया गया है. सो दैट इज पॉसिबल ओनली थ्रू नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स. प्रॉफिट और लॉस लाना, बढ़ाना, गिराना तो अपने हाथ में है. Maybe there are so many accounting rules, but accounts is not science. That I will throw a ball, it will be going there. It's a subjectivity involved. There are uncertainty, there are projections. कि मान लीजिए कोई फिगर लिख रहे हैं, डेप्रिसिएशन 5 साल में करेंगे, 10 साल में करेंगे, 2 साल में करेंगे, सैल्वेज वैल्यू है, कितना सारा एस्टिमेशन है अकाउंट्स में. और एस्टिमेशन ऑलवेज कैन नेवर बी परफेक्ट. कल क्या होगा किसी को नहीं मालूम है. Accounts is based on estimation. So for that reason, understanding the accounts required disclosure notes to accounts. Otherwise, those understanding of accounts will not be possible. And those disclosures should be properly fixed. ऐसे डिस्क्लोज करना है, ऐसे लिखना है, ये बताना है, दैट इज रिटन इन द अकाउंट्स. आपके सिलेबस में, सबकी सिलेबस में एक और है, कॉन्सेप्चुअल फ्रेमवर्क, रेगुलेटरी फ्रेमवर्क. कॉन्सेप्चुअल फ्रेमवर्क डिफाइन एसेट्स, लाइबिलिटी, इनकम, एक्सपेंडिचर, इक्विटी, डेबिट, क्रेडिट, गोल्डन रूल्स ऑफ, आई मीन टू से अकाउंटिंग कॉन्सेप्ट्स. रेगुलेटरी फ्रेमवर्क, ये जो IFRS वगैरह ये कौन पब्लिश करता है, कैसे पब्लिश होता है, अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड बोर्ड क्या है, कौन कौन सी अथॉरिटी है, एडवाइजरी काउंसिल कौन है, वो लोग. रेगुलेटरी फ्रेमवर्क, बोथ आर देयर. बट इफ आई विल स्टार्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग एसेट्स, लायबिलिटी, बहुत बोर लगेगा. Once we complete the topics and then later on at the end I will discuss conceptual framework. Just 10-20 minutes it can be done. Like other comprehensive, in the beginning it is problem. But when I will do the topics, then it can be understood. So I have not started with the first topic, conceptual or regulatory framework. Don't read that, because if you read that, you will not be able to understand. Just complete the topics, all other things, then conceptual and regulatory become byproduct. You will automatically understand. So I have not discussed anything relating to assets, liability, income, expenditure definition. That I will do at the end. When the classes will be getting over, that time we will teach, because that is there in the exam, that is required. Khaskar SBR exam. Maybe for CIMA or IFRS exam, not that relevant. But for SBR exam, very important area, conceptual and regulatory framework. And believe me, in ACCA, conceptual regulatory framework is there from beginning, from knowledge level. Knowledge level FA, skill level FR, and then SBR. And in SBR, the question which they are asking on that area is very, very high level. So that is, now I'm not reading from here, you can read this. We say that, suppose I am teaching 5 courses, ACCA, CIMA, CMA, CPA, Diploma, IFRS. And one of the course I will not teach. I am not saying, just for example I am saying, one of the course I am not teaching. I will not teach now onwards. मैंने डिसाइड किया अब मैं वो नहीं पढ़ाऊंगा. तो हम लोग बोलते हैं PL अकाउंट में the income, profit or loss will be divided into 2 parts. One is the profit or loss from continuing. Suppose IFRS I will not teach. So profit or loss from continuing will be from 4 courses. And the profit or loss from IFRS which is going to be discontinued will be separately disclosed. In my case, IFRS is not a discontinued operation. Why? Because in my case, there is no separate asset, separate liability for deep IFRS. The same material, the same software, the same technology, the same staff, the same faculty, the same assets, everything is same. So in my case, it is not a discontinued operation. Just for example, I am saying, suppose I am talking about ITC. ITC tobacco, they are closing. For ITC tobacco, they have separate assets, separate liability, separate creditor, separate everything. So they will say profit or loss from discontinued operation. Suppose Maruti. Maruti, there is Asia operation, there is Europe operation, there is USA operation. Maruti is closing their Asia operation. Then in that case, I will say that it is a discontinued operation. Discontinued operation does not mean that any product you stop selling, like in my case. Because for that product, there is no separate affair, separate asset, separate liability is not there. It's neither geographical, neither anyway. So for that reason, for me, if I am not teaching IFRS, there is no heading like this. IFRS का income यहीं पर आएगा. But अगर कोई बड़ी कंपनी है, अलग अलग बिजनेस है, जोग्राफिकल लोकेशन है, उसका सेपरेट एसेट और लाइबिलिटी है, तो आपको उसको अलग से दिखाना है. काहे को? क्यों? Because this may be loss or gain, but this is not going to arise again. This is just for this year. We have already discontinued that. In the current year, we continued, but in the future, it is not. If it is income, this is not going to arise. If this is a loss, this is not going to arise. So that those who are taking decisions based on financial, they can ignore this. So nothing is included in the top relating to this. The breakup of the discontinued operation loss gain will be in the notes to accounts. The sale of IFRS, the kharcha of IFRS, everything will be in the notes to accounts. But it is not that in every organization you will have this. 99% there is no discontinued operation in any business. So there cannot be any separate heading. But if it is there, it needs to be separately disclosed. Relating to this IFRS 5, discontinued operation held for sale assets, we are going to study in a separate topic. But just that when we are discussing format, then for the profit or loss, discontinued need to be recorded separately. Suppose I am doing depreciation on these assets as a straight line basis. I am doing depreciation on these assets on the basis of a straight line. Now I want to change the method to WDV, reducing balance method. Suppose I don't have inventory in my organization. Inventory is valued at FIFO method. But I am changing the inventory to LIFO method or average method. You will say, sir, LIFO is not allowed. That we will study in inventory. Don't worry. Suppose I will say that I am doing revaluation of my assets. Suppose I will say that I did some mistake in 2021. While preparing PL account balance sheet, some mistake was done. Something wrong done. Not intentionally, unintentionally, maybe something. I will need to rectify today. If I am changing my policy, FIFO to average, depreciation, this, that, I need to record the new things. There may be changes in the policies. There may be rectification of errors. If there is a change in the policy, that is only allowed if it is required by IFRS. Or it is only allowed if there is a better presentation. Errors, you have to rectify. But when you change policy or you rectify errors, you have to give retrospective effect. Means, if I will say that I am following FIFO to average method of inventory, then the average method I am following current year. But if I would have followed average method last year, last to last year, then if I would have followed average method only, I need to rectify retrospectively my all old data. The opening retained earning in a statement of changes in equity, retained earnings, that is based on FIFO method, that should be based on average method. I need to rectify opening retained earning also. So if there is a change in the policy, if there is a rectification of errors, we need to follow retrospective effect. That is, in the current year, we will follow the new policy. But in the last year, when we present comparative figures, that also based on the new policy, we need to restate the figures. And the retained earnings opening balances also we need to rectify. Because otherwise, we cannot comparatively analyze. If I will say that the inventory value 1 lakh by FIFO, but if it is by average method, it is 80,000. So in the last year also, by average method, the inventory value will be lower. So in the last year also, there will be effect on profit. In the last year also, there will be value and inventory effect. How I can compare the current year and last year when the policy was different? How I can compare current year, last year when there was some mistake last year? So the accounting body said that if you want to analyze the financials, you have to give retrospective effect. You will apply the new policy. You will do the rectification in the current year, but in the last year also, in the earlier year also, if the policy would have been same, which is now changed, then what would be the result that you need to bring? Retrospective effect has to be given for change in policy or for change in money. I mean to say rectification of errors. One more thing, not for Saraf Academy. For listed companies in India, they require to present quarterly financial statement. Every quarter, SEBI guidelines in India is there. All the listed company need to present their quarterly financial statement. When the financial statement are prepared on 1 year basis, they are normal. Normally we prepare 1 year basis. But if the financial statements are prepared after a quarter, after 6 months, maybe for internal purpose, maybe required by SEBI, then they are called interim financial statement. Interim. The interim financial statements are called condensed financial statement. They are not so much detailed. The detailing depends upon SEBI guidelines in India. The detailing depends upon UK में UK gap. UK का जो security authority है. The detailing in US required by SEC. मैंने भी पढ़ा था 20-22 साल पहले जब CA फाइनल दिए थे. Interim financial report in CA final. लेकिन अभी तो SEBI में बहुत सारा changes आ गया होगा. That is not written in Ind AS or anywhere. That you need to purely follow the IFRS, the country specific rule. That is not going to be tested in exam. Just a simple understanding कि interim financial report not for a year. That is for a lesser period, for regulatory authority, for those companies listed in stock exchange, that is required. We will follow the same accounting policies and principles which we are following for preparing year-wise financial statement. Interim में वही लिखेंगे, लेकिन not that much detailed. How much detailing is required? That depends upon country-specific rules. That is even not there in any course. हाँ, इंडिया के कोर्स में इंडियन सीए में आ जाएगा, बिकॉज अगर आप इंडियन सीए एग्जाम दे रहे हैं तो आपको इंडियन कंपनी जो लिस्टेड है उनका अकाउंट्स वगैरह बनाना पड़ेगा, तो आपको इंटरिम फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग एज पर इंडियस पढ़ाया जाएगा, लेकिन यहां नहीं है। और मेरे को मालूम भी नहीं है कि सेबी ने क्या क्या चेंजेस वगैरह किया है। फिर भी मैं सुबह पहले क्या किया, आई वॉज जस्ट मॉर्निंग व्हेन गॉट अप, देन आई डाउनलोडेड अ फाइनेंशियल्स। मैंने ये पीडब्ल्यूसी का इलास्ट्रेटिव कंडेंस्ड इंटरिम 2020 का मिला, मेरे को अच्छा लगा, तो मैं सोचा एक बार अपने पर्पस के लिए खुद के लिए डाउनलोड कर लेंगे। आप बोलेंगे सर आप मेरे को भी दे दीजिएगा, आप कुछ भी यार डालिए ना, गूगल में चैट जीपीटी में डालिए, आ जाएगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम, मैं दे दूंगा, लेकिन मैं अपने पर्पस के लिए इसको डाउनलोड किया हूं। और ये कंडेंस्ड इंटरिम है, क्वार्टर 6 months का है, देन ऑल्सो 40 pages दैट कैन नॉट बी टॉट इन द क्लास, यू अंडरस्टैंड। देन इन दैट केस सुरजीत का केस हो जाएगा, वी विल नॉट पास, मे बी वी गेट द नॉलेज। फॉर दैट वी रिक्वायर अ डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ स्टडी ऑल टुगेदर। बट जस्ट आई एम सेइंग दैट कि आपका ये इंटरेस्ट होना चाहिए। मेरे को लगा एक बार देखते हैं आज क्या चेंजेस आया है, बिकॉज मेरे को ये सब तो मालूम था, तो मेरे को पढ़ने का मन किया, तो आई डाउनलोडेड, आई टाइप्ड इन द गूगल द कंडेंस्ड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, देन आई फाउंड दिस मच लॉजिकल। मैंने 3-4 बार अलग अलग खोला, लेकिन मेरे को ये वाला अच्छा लगा, तो मैं देखा बाद में मैं इसको देखूंगा कि भाई क्या क्या चेंज हुआ है, कैसे प्रेजेंटेशन कर रहे हैं, इंटरिम सेबी का क्या गाइडलाइंस है। आई थॉट दैट आई नीड टू नो, दैट इंटरेस्ट इज रिक्वायर्ड, नॉट रेलिवेंट फॉर एग्जाम, बट वैसे ही आपको पढ़ना है। तो आप अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का फाइनेंशियल्स को देखिए, कोई बड़ा कंपनी लिस्टेड यूएस यूके का फाइनेंशियल्स को देखिए, इंडिया का देखिए, और उसको बेस बनाइए कि आप हर टॉपिक में उसको को रिलेट करते रहेंगे बार बार, कि यहां ऐसा प्रेजेंटेशन हो रहा है, ऐसा हो रहा है, कहीं डाउट होगा, समझेंगे। मैंने कुछ भी नहीं पढ़ाया है आप लोग को, आई हैव नॉट टॉट एनीथिंग, जस्ट मैं तो फॉर्मेट बात कर रहा हूं, बिकॉज अगर मैं कुछ भी चीज आगे समझाऊंगा, मैं बोलूंगा इन द बैलेंस शीट इट विल बी कमिंग अंडर नॉन करंट, मैं बोलूंगा इन द पीएल अकाउंट इट विल बी कमिंग अंडर ऑपरेटिंग इनकम, मैं बोलूंगा इट विल बी कमिंग अंडर हियर स्टेटमेंट ऑफ चेक, तो आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा ना। तो आपको ये नॉलेज शुरू से ही एकदम बेहतर होना चाहिए। और आप कोई भी 2-3 फाइनेंशियल्स को अलग कर लीजिए, अपना कंपनी का, कोई बड़ा कंपनी का, और जब जब जो चीज पढ़ेंगे उसको वहां से को रिलेट करिए, गिव योर टाइम सो दैट यू गेट मजा, इंटरेस्ट इन स्टडी। इंटरेस्ट तभी आएगा जब केवल क्वेश्चन आंसर नहीं, यू विल स्टडी विथ लॉजिक। ये ऐसा क्यों होता है? आई विल ट्राई माई लेवल बेस्ट टू गिव यू ऑल लॉजिक्स फॉर ऑल ट्रीटमेंट, बट फिर भी आप भी अपना इंटरेस्ट जगाइए। नॉट स्टडी फॉर एग्जाम सुरजीत, ओनली स्टडी फॉर नॉलेज। एग्जाम अपने आप हो जाएगा, कोई टेंशन नहीं होएगा। सो ये नोट्स मैं आप लोग को दे दूंगा, आप लोग इसको एक बार गो थ्रू करेंगे। मैंने केवल फॉर्मेट लिखा है, थोड़ा सा पॉलिसीज इंटरिम वगैरह भी लिख दिया है। आपको कुछ प्रॉब्लम होगा हम लोग डिस्कस कर लेंगे। हम लोग नेक्स्ट दिन वेडनेसडे को फिर मिलेंगे, 7 to 7:30 के बीच में क्लास होगा। मैं आपको मेल में ऊपर में सब्जेक्ट में लिख दूंगा कितने बजे क्लास है, उतने बजे ही लॉग इन करेंगे। एट दैट टाइम व्हेन यू लॉग इन आई विल बी देयर, ओके। एंड मंडे वेडनेसडे वी विल बी टेकिंग अराउंड 25 क्लासेस, मे बी 26, 24, डोंट नो। एवरेज में 25 क्लास मेरे को लगता है, सबका पेपर, मॉक पेपर एंड एवरीथिंग। नाउ समबडी वांट टू ट्राई मॉक पेपर नाउ, आप पुराना रिकॉर्डिंग करिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। समबडी इज नॉट गोइंग टू अटेंड लाइव क्लासेस, कोई बात नहीं है। आप इसके ऊपर वेट मत करिए, पुराना बैच जून 2022, दिसंबर 2022 जो है, आप उसको रिकॉर्डिंग करिए, कोई चेंजेस नहीं है, सेम स्टोरी, सेम कॉमा फुल स्टॉप कैन नॉट बी सेम, हाउ आई विल रिमेंबर। और अगर लाइव करना है तो लाइव करिए, लेकिन रेगुलरली यू नीड टू स्टडी। इफ यू डोंट स्टडी यू कैन नॉट गिव एग्जाम, द क्वेश्चन ऑफ पास फेल डजंट अराइज, ओके। सो लीविंग फॉर टुडे, meeting on Wednesday. Monday, Wednesday is our schedule. And I will be giving whatever notes I am using in the class, the Google Drive link, everything again to all of you. You don't have to request कि मेरे को नहीं मिला, सबको फिर मिलेगा. Okay? Leaving for today. Thank you to all of you. Take care. Study hard. Tada.